Jim, this is news that just broke over the last day or so. The passing of Black Bart.
Oh no, it just broke with me right now. Seriously?
Oh, I didn't know that
I
you didn't know about this. Yeah.
no. Well, it's been the snow and Harley's sick and Stacy's back and tax time for me to get with the accountant and I've been looking at the internet. I saw something that indicated on the internet a few weeks ago that he had decided to give up his treatments. But I didn't know it had progressed to that point this quickly. I'm sorry to hear that Black Bart spent a lot of time with me in the Midnight Express in the car when we first started working for Crockett. But go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts and memories of Hangman Rick Harris, Black Bart, someone you were around for a period of time and an interesting career? I think he had more in him. He didn't go as far as he could have, I think, because he just was never used the right way at times. But what are your thoughts on Black Bart?
Well, Dusty really liked him because Dusty liked all the Western-oriented characters, and Dusty used him fairly well in Florida and for Crockett. But Bart, first of all, was a nice guy, just a big night and a big country boy, and was married for years to his wife, Miss Bonnie. Miss Bonnie's at home waiting, and we rode with him a lot. I've told the story before. We were in a fucking van with me and Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey and Black Bart and Buddy Landell and maybe one or two other people coming from Albany, Georgia, all the way back to Charlotte, which is like goddamn 500 miles, whatever it was. And Buddy Landell was bothering Black Bart and blistering Black Bart verbally. And they were as opposite two personalities as you could be. And finally, Buddy decided he wanted to take a nap and go to sleep, and Bart was still fuming. And the boys were drinking those Miller ponies, the little small Miller bottles, and they were easier to piss in, too, when you were on a long trip. And Bart pissed in one of those Miller pony bottles and handed it up to me. He said, "Pour that on Budrow." I said, "What?" He said, "Pour that on Budrow." I said, "Are you back here in case he gets me?" "I'll take care of it." And I poured that on Buddy and handed Bart the fucking beer bottle back and sat back. And Buddy woke up and was all wet. He looked at me because I was right behind him. He said, "Jimmy, did you pour water on me?" I said, "Buddy, I swear to God, I did not pour water on you." And he looked at Bart. "Well, you did it." And Bart said, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" And they fussed. And Buddy didn't realize it was piss until he got home at like 6 o'clock in the morning and went in his apartment and his dog started humping him. And Bart was a big fan of when we would go to Williamson, West Virginia, or some of those towns for Crockett. He was a big fan of the Hatfield and McCoy's feud. And "See there, boys, right across this river." But a real nice guy, good worker, big, believable guy, and could cut a great promo. And, he wasn't going to be the world champion of a national organization, and he wasn't going to,
He wasn't world class. That was one of the things that happened in world class after he left the NWA.
I said a major organization. At that time, that was not it. And he wasn't going to dress up and go out and, make a big hit with the sponsors, but he was fun to be around for the boys. I hate to hear that.
See, I like Hangman Rick Harris better than Black Bart. To me, the name Black Bart, it was hard to take the name as serious.
It was hard it sounded comedic like a, Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah, and the first time I saw him was in 1990, I think, on WWF TV as a enhancement guy.
Is that the first time you saw him? Well, you weren't really alive watching the mid-'80s stuff first run, were you?
There were a lot of guys that the first time I saw them around that same period of time were as enhancement guys. Him, Pez Whatley, Buddy Rose. Like a bunch of guys who, a decade earlier, had been stars in different territories. It was a different story now. And he was in Mid-South, I think, in 82 briefly as Hangman Rick Harris, and I thought he was really good there.
Yeah, and that's the thing is he was one of the guys and some of the other ones that you just mentioned that when 1988 came, 89, and every place else had closed up besides Memphis, Atlanta, and Vince, the territories, Bart moved, I don't know if he moved back to Texas. I think he'd already been back there, but he has lived in Texas for years and years. He just became kind of a fixture of whoever was running in and around Dallas, and then would, try to get some shots with Vince, and it would end up being TV jobs. But a lot of the guys that had been stars on the territory level of some degree got squeezed out when there was no more territories.